What's going on, man? It's your big brother K-Rino. Had to write something down real quick. Did a little surprise live on y'all. Popped a little surprise live on y'all, man. Cause this question popped into my head, and it popped into my head because I started thinking about all of the different opinions and ideologies and levels of information that are circulating around everything in existence, everything. And we have so many different thoughts. If you ask 20 people the same question or their opinion about something, or their opinion about the same thing, you really are likely to get at least 15 different answers. So we're gonna get into that, man. We're gonna tackle the question. I can't answer it. I guess I can in a way, but it'll still be my own view. Who is truly qualified to teach us? And I left a word out. Who is truly qualified to teach us right? Teach us right. That should be the title. I might change that. As you come in the door, hit the like button. As you come in, I see a couple of y'all have already posted. Brother G said, experience is the best teacher. Yeah. I see you, Gavin Christopher. I see you, man. Glad you're here, man. Glad you're here. Hit the like button as you come in. And be sure that y'all subscribe to the channel if you're not already subscribed to my channel, because we on the road to 50,000 subscribers, and we want to make sure what I want to do, man, you know, with my channel, I don't really want to have just people who just subscribe just because they're like, okay, yeah, I just subscribe because it's good for somebody on YouTube to have subscribers. I want to have organic, loyal supporters of the channel. Just like in music business, period, you have casual fans of certain artists. They like this artist because he made a particular hit that year that they like, but they're gonna eventually go back to doing what they do. They're not really a loyal supporter of that artist. Then you got people who represent the core audience for that particular artist, and they're gonna be there regardless. And that's what you want to establish as an artist. And that's what I want to establish on this channel. I want people that rock with me because they rock with me and they coming on every time I post something, you know. And even if you don't agree with everything I say, just part of that network, even if you want to come in and see what I'm talking about and express your disagreement, we can do that in a respectful manner towards each other. But that's why I need y'all to subscribe and keep your notifications on, you know, because I want to deal with the people who are truly checking for what your big brother got to say. I see you, James Threadgill, Jack Byers, and Billy Swanson in the building. Right now, this is a surprise little live I did because that question was eating at me, and I always like to get different opinions on it. Like when Brother G came right in and said, experience is the best teacher. And I will say that experience is one of the best teachers. Experience is one of the best teachers. See, the thing is, the true, I guess, point is that there are multiple teachers in life. There are multiple teachers. The first level of teaching that you get when you leave the womb comes from your mother. As Minister Falcon says, your mother is your first nurse, your first teacher. You learn everything first from your mother, then later on your parents in general, if your parents are around, or family members, mentors, and everything we learn is not good for us to learn. We learn how to rock up dope. We learn how to cut up dope and rock it up and sell it. We learned how to do that. And while that whole process of transforming pure cocaine into a rock form can technically be considered chemistry, it's still not a good thing to do. So we learn a lot. And y'all are already putting up some great answers and great points. I'm gonna tackle a lot of y'all stuff first, and then I'm gonna go into mine. Matt Labatt says time is the teacher. Yeah. Wisdom, A1000, wisdom. J.E., someone who has knowledge, wisdom, and understanding. Yeah, but the question, J.E., okay, yeah, absolutely. Okay, I got it mixed up. He says someone who has knowledge, wisdom, and understanding is truly qualified to teach us. That's right. Absolutely. How do we determine if we are talking to somebody who has knowledge, wisdom, and understanding? How do we discern the difference between one who does and one who doesn't? And which knowledge, wisdom, and understanding are we referring to? Because I just mentioned that there are multiple types of knowledge. So I can gain the knowledge of something that's evil. I can gain the wisdom of how to work it and the understanding of it. But I know what you mean. But I'm just trying to put it on a duality to make people get that. Because we have conversations all the time, and people will talk about young people coming up, and they'll say, man, the most important thing is for you to get an education. But my question is always, okay, what type of education? You can't just say get an education. Get an education about what? What are we being educated on? Who are we being educated by? And what are we being educated for? For what purpose are we receiving these particular worldly educations? Who do they benefit? These are all the questions that we got to answer. See? So the question again is, who is truly qualified to teach us? Let me see what y'all talking about earlier. Hold on, let me go back up because I might have missed a couple of y'all. UK in the building, man. Truth and knowledge will always teach us. M.R. Brooks. Yep. Truth definitely will. If we accept it, we don't deny it. Because what we got to understand, M.R. Brooks, truth can only be a teacher if truth is accepted. A lot of people deny truth, and we deny truth for multiple reasons. We deny truth because in our ignorance sometimes we deny truth because we don't recognize it. And sometimes we deny truth because we don't agree with it. We hear it and we're like, nah, that's not true. Because we may not have done our due diligence to find out if indeed it's true. But what you're saying, yeah, truth is a teacher. If truth is said to make you free, if truth makes you free, if truth sets you free, then it's got to be something in it that's qualified to free you. So yeah, no question. The reason why I'm asking this question is based on the conditions of the world right now. We have a global pandemic that the whole world is dealing with. And in the midst of that global pandemic, there are people who accept that that pandemic actually is present among us. Then there are others who do not accept it, and they call it fake. They call it a pandemic. They say it's not real, or they say it is real, but it's not as severe as they make it out to be. Now, all of these different things that I mentioned, whatever you believe as it relates to the pandemic, and I'll get to other things as well, whatever you took in as being what you accept as true, regardless of what you want to say, somebody taught that to you. And when I say they taught it to you, it doesn't mean that they sat down and put you through a course of study or a course of learning. It just means that they said it. You heard it. Somebody offered a variation that was different from what was normally being put out in some way, and you took that variation as your truth. But based on what? Did you study after you accepted it? Because that's what you're supposed to do. You can accept something before you fully understand it. See? In the religion of Islam, they have what's called Shahadah. And it's you're declaring that you accept the faith. But if you take a Shahada 2 weeks into accepting Islam or just kind of being familiarized with it, you don't know everything yet, which you'll never learn everything, but you don't have a grain of the wisdom and the knowledge and the understanding that exists within the totality of it, but you accepted it. You accepted the faith on faith. And then you started walking the journey and started learning as you walk. So you can definitely hear somebody say something, and then it sounds good to you, even though you haven't studied it all the way thoroughly, and then eventually you go through your course of study to grasp it. And then the faith that you had in it, the blind faith that you had in it, is met with the knowledge and the wisdom and understanding. Now you got a grasp on it. But my point is to say, guess what? Multiple angles of information are coming out about the coronavirus and the vaccines and the numbers of who's qualified to really teach us about that stuff. Because guess what? We live in a world that, for the most part, trust is very minimal and very limited. People just don't trust nothing and nobody. And guess what? Rightfully so. The powers that control this world for right now, they ain't got much long to go. But the ones who control this world for right now have created circumstances for centuries that have justified the people not having trust. So we don't trust the government. We don't trust the politicians. We don't trust the teachers. We look at the athletes and we look at the entertainers and we view them as not being qualified because all they are is athletes and entertainers. What do they know? As if we understand and are fully aware of everything that they study and that they learn. So nobody trusts anybody. We don't trust the doctors. We don't trust the scientists because history and track record has given us great reason not to. See? So the lack of trust is justified, which leads to the question, who's really qualified to teach us? And how do we know if that person is qualified? See? There's a scripture that says, you know a tree by the fruit that it bears. That is one of the main components of determining whether somebody is qualified to teach us right. See? So if there is a person who has detractors and enemies and is evil spoken of, or another one I mentioned that we don't trust media. If there's any more that I forgot that y'all think of in this world, these systems that we don't trust, feel free to list them. But if you got somebody that's always being evil spoken of, always being slandered, always being talked down on, always being accused of falsehood, always being accused of being a liar and a deceiver and all these different things, right? A thief. But when you study that person's body of work for however long they've been on the scene, and you come to find out that their body of work does not match up with what people are saying about them, then you got to ask yourself the question, why is it that these people are saying these things about this particular person? Because all I heard was, oh man, he's dirty, he's crooked, he's wicked, he's slick, he's low down, he's a snake, he's a thief, he's a liar. But everything that he or she touches turns out it works for good. So something ain't right about that. They always helping people. They transforming human life. People getting off drugs. People cleaning themselves up from being homeless. People no longer participating in criminal activity. People becoming more healthy in their lifestyles, changing the health of people. People that were sick are now strong because this individual has instilled the right type of knowledge in the people, and their life is transforming for the better. Yet, the powers are still saying that that person is untrustworthy. Then you go back and you study or you research things that that person might have said 15 years ago. Y'all hit the like button, man, if you haven't already. Things that this person may have said 15 years ago, 20 years ago, 5 years ago, 2 years ago, and those things all come to pass. How then can you say that a person is other than what they are or what they say they are? Because now you look ridiculous to accuse someone of not being qualified or being evil, but their works say otherwise. So you judge a tree by the fruit that it bears. Because not only are their works legit, they are producing other people who are doing the same work. And those people are producing other people who are doing the same good work. So now, the one that's evil spoken of, he is multiplying himself and reproducing after his own mind, which has to make you say, if it's in a good way, that he's reproducing after the mind of the creator himself. See? So how do we know who's truly qualified to teach us? Because you look at the actions. You look at the body of work of that person. That's how you know who's unqualified the same way. See? Why do you think when somebody runs for office, somebody runs for president, right? If somebody's running for president while they're on the campaign trail, you may not have heard anything about, you may not know too much about their past and all that, but soon as they start making that run, whoever is in opposition to them will immediately start to pull up and try to dig out negative aspects of that person's history in order to discredit them. If the history that they pull out is so extreme that they reveal something about that person that the public may not have known, or they dig something up that they may have known, but they didn't blow it up, that could change the whole game in terms of, whoa, I was going to vote for this guy, but I didn't know that he did this, or he was alleged to do that or do this. See? So if we don't trust the very people who are put in position to teach us, who's at the root of that? Why don't we trust the preachers and the ministers? Why don't we trust them? What happened? What happened to make the majority of the world go, nah, don't try to hit me with no religion? What happened to make the majority of the people go, man, I don't do politics, man, because all of them are crooks, all of them are corrupt? What happened to make us not trust the doctors in the medical profession? What does their track record say? I just told you, you know a tree by the fruit that it bears. What fruit has the medical profession borne historically? What do we see when we look at the history of the medical profession here in the United States of America? I'm not going to even go abroad right now. Just here in America. What goes on right now? So if there's a pandemic and then there is a oatmeal vaccine quickly whipped up, minute rice vaccine quickly whipped up, how do you know that you can trust the vaccine when it comes from the very people who have historically poisoned humanity? We got to deal with that. Let me see what y'all talking about, man. Teach and bro, I'm just somebody. Just I I I follow a wise teacher, man. Several of them, and it goes up in ranks. I'm just a dude who writes rap songs. And I try to pass on what I believe in, what I've learned from those wise teachers through my music. Matt Labatt says the economy is set up to fail. SR Visions, they are trying to keep us in low vibration. Let organic food be thy medicine. And I just did a video touching on that today because, which led to this topic really, because all of the confidence that they are instilling or trying to instill in us to take these vaccines or to take this vaccine or one or two, however many they come out with, all of the confidence that they are trying to instill in us that it's okay to take it, but yet nobody is mentioning what you just said. Growing your own food, eating the right foods, receiving the vitamins that come from the sun, fasting, as somebody mentioned on the video I made. Fasting is very important. Exercise, eliminating certain foods from your diet. All these things contribute greatly to the boosting of the immune system. Why does why don't the CDC talk about that? Why won't the medical professionals talk about that? Why won't the government talk about that? Healthy lifestyle, simplistic, healthy lifestyle. Everything is straight to pharmaceuticals. Everything is straight to pharmaceuticals. Ranger Jenny hit the nail on the head. Money over cures. So is this new? Is this way of thinking and acting and imposing this BS on the people, is it new? No, it's not new. So if it's not new, at what point do we decide, hey man, you know what? These people have already proven that we can't trust them. And I can't speak for nobody else, but I know as a black man, we have a strong, long, shady history with vaccines and medications and experiments and things of that nature being conducted on us. Can't trust it. So you say, well, we got teachers who they teach us, they're qualified to teach. I'm gonna assume that everybody on this live is grown man, grown woman, out of school, out of high school, out of college. I'm assuming that the majority. I don't think there's any 15-year-olds on this live right now. I'm gonna say with all honesty that I believe everybody on this live right now is grown. So if we will try to make the argument that, hey man, we got to listen to the teachers and the educators of this world, then I want to do a survey. I want to do a poll right now. Just raise your hand or give me a peace sign if you have learned more information that you deem to be valuable since leaving school than you did in the whole time that you were in school. If you learn more since you got out of school, I don't care if you graduated high school, college, dropped out, from the time you ended schooling, if you learn more since you got out, just raise your hand if you believe you have. My hand will be the first one up. So, and I'll wait to get a full let the poll develop a little bit as it's developing, as I see. So if that's the case, if we have learned more since getting out of school than we learned in the, I can say the 13 years I went from kindergarten to 12th grade, that's 13 years I went to school. By the time I had been out of school 4 years, 5 years, I feel like I had learned more in that short period of time than I did the whole time. Life lessons, things that would really assist me through life. So with that being said, the reason I posed that question is because that's a perfect example, and I see hands still going up. That's a perfect example to say that the teachers are not even qualified to teach us right, because they are operating from a curriculum that was given to them by higher up. Everything has a ranking system to it. The teacher's not walking in teaching their own curriculum unless you got a rebel. Tone 210 says they should have never took learning trades. You mean out of school? You said they should have never took learning trades in school. If you're saying they should have never taken that out of school, I totally 100% agree. Because those things can be beneficial. We can learn trades out of school. We can go to welding school and things of that nature. We can go learn carpentry and, outside. But there was a time where those things were in the schools. But they take a lot of stuff out of school that we need. They took prayer out of schools. So if God, the Most High, is the originator of education, of learning, all learning is rooted in God. He's the source of all knowledge, wisdom, and understanding, which is what you're supposed to be going to school to get. Then why would you remove him from the schools, from that equation? It's for a bigger purpose. It's because his law, his ways contradict the lies and the trickery that they want to inject through education. So the teachers don't know either. So if the teachers are not qualified, the preachers and pastors are not qualified, the government is not qualified, the medical industry is not qualified, who is truly qualified to teach us right? And how do you know? Let me see what y'all talking about. Michelangelo said, Christ Mass, Babylon, December 25th. I might do it live on Christmas, man. I don't know. The laws of God threaten the wickedness of politics. That's right. Sound familiar? CDL, my homie. David May. Jay James said they took prayer out of school because eventually they would have to teach history alongside of religion. False religions would be exposed. You remind me of something the Honorable Elijah Muhammad said. He says that we don't have to teach a man his religion. You just teach him history, and his history will walk him back into his religion. But yeah, I agree, man. And think about the way history is taught in the public schools. I'm a black dude, grew up in the hood, went to the public schools, but very little of our history was talked about in those history books. So I learned way, way more. I learned volumes more of our valuable, rich history once I got out of school. I had never heard of W.E.B. Du Bois the whole time I was in school. I had never heard of Marcus Garvey, maybe just barely heard of Marcus Garvey, just heard the name and didn't really know. Can't even say I heard of Elijah Muhammad from school. I heard of Elijah Muhammad while I was in school, but I heard a rapper talking about him. So I can't even say I learned about Elijah Muhammad in school. They gave us a watered down version of Malcolm. They didn't give us the real Malcolm X. They gave us a watered down version of Malcolm. So you get Malcolm, Martin Luther King, what's my brother's name? George Washington Carver, Eli Whitney, little watered down Harriet Tubman. See? And the old saying goes, the person who won't treat you right is not going to teach you right. So we can't trust the teachers. What have the politicians proven? What have they done that has proven that they can be trusted? Well, they permit poison to be placed in food. They permit poison to be placed in water. They initiate wars with other nations based on lies in order to obtain the resources from those nations. Can't trust them either. What has the pharmaceutical companies done? What have they done? They have manufactured countless amounts of drugs that are supposedly treatments to ailments that were created by this very government. So the person who creates the sickness also creates the treatment because it's a money cycle. It's a lick. Unnatural sicknesses and conditions and viruses and diseases, unnatural, they are being unnaturally formed intentionally. And then since we made it, we can make the treatment for it. We make it, impose it on the people, create the treatment, put it out before the people, make the money off of it. So we can't trust them because I gave the answer early on. You trust the tree that's bearing the best fruit. Black folks trusted the Tuskegee experiment. What did that get them? What did that get us? We were disappointed. We were poisoned. We are trusting the MMR vaccine. And now autism is running rampant, and it has been proven that that MMR vaccine is directly related to autism. We trusted them. We let the nurses and doctors come in and say, hey, you gotta get your child vaccinated because blah, 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 this, that, and the other. Because of the diseases that they created. And I'm sure that there have been conditions throughout time, but they were not as wickedly concocted. These conditions that we have seen spike in the last few decades, they are wickedly concocted. not naturally just formulated where they can be easily dealt with. People didn't have to vaccinate themselves 50,000 years ago, 100,000 years ago. We do know that there were people on the planet 1,000,000 years ago, right? The earth is not 6,000 years old. There's documented evidence. There have been bodies found that are millions of years old. See? So, how were those people able to sustain all the way down the line of time, all the way to where we are right now? Somebody had to have it figured out to a degree, otherwise, we wouldn't be here. Lord of Truth said, did not teach us wisdom. Because by Luciferians, we're educated by Satan. Satan gives us our education. Satan teaches us what's what, according to his mind. And we follow behind Satan. So they instilled in us the false confidence that a vaccine that they created is going to be beneficial to us. But history, again, I just named a couple of instances where it's been proven that these man-made vaccines, that these government ordained vaccines made by these dirty scientists who work in conjunction with the government or for the government, has put us in a bad way. Yet they continue to read from the same script and we continue to act it out. Easy skanking says, you taught me, big brother. Well, look, I didn't teach you, because the majority of what I say comes from the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, and what he teaches comes from God. So I give him all the credit, bro. And I always laugh at that, because people, they will tell me, man, how can you talk about all this knowledge in your songs and all this wisdom you rap about, all these great things, man? I'm a big fan. How can you do that and you follow Elijah Muhammad? I wouldn't know none of it if it wasn't for him. So that statement is a contradiction. You're giving me credit for something I learned from somebody who you are discrediting. How weird is that? You've already bear witness that what I said in the song was beneficial to you, that you love the knowledge, you love the wisdom. You even falsely gave me the credit for having the knowledge, the wisdom, and understanding, and then turn right back around and say, with all of that, how can you follow Falcon? Because most likely, if I'm speaking on something like that you have so much admiration for, I got it from him. That's funny to me. That is funny to me, man. So if you love the fruit, how can you hate the tree? If you love the fruit, how can you hate the tree? I love apples, but every time I see an apple tree, I just get a chainsaw and I cut it down. What kind of sense do that make? Drew Green just dropped a bomb. He say, as the days of Noah, as it was in the days of Noah, so shall it be in these days. I ain't quoting the scripture exactly right. But what I'm taking from that, people didn't believe who the real man of God was in the days of Noah. They thought Noah was crazy because he had been out in the streets for 150 years talking about this rain that was getting ready to come down. And people became desensitized to his message because they had seen him speaking it for so long and it hadn't come to pass yet. See? But when it finally came, it was too late. Let me see what the family is talking about, man. Is that Anate? This is a war between the woke and the government. It's a war between God and Satan, is what it is. God and Satan are fighting for the minds of the people. But the difference is God gives us the right to choose. Satan would deceive his way to figure out how he'll get us, because the one thing that you got to understand about Satan, Satan has wisdom. You think that Satan ain't wise? He wouldn't be able to deceive the whole world if he wasn't wise. But he's what Mr. Falcon calls wickedly wise. So he's wise enough to know who God is, and he's wise enough to know that he can't defeat God, but he's wicked enough to have the mindset that, okay, I know I'm not going to win, and I know I'm going to be destroyed, but I'm going to take as many of them with me as I can. That's the game. See? It's like a scorned lover in a relationship, or just somebody who's crazy. They don't always have to be scorned. Sometimes people are just crazy, and when the other person decides that they don't want nothing to do with this, well, if I can't have you, nobody can. If I can't have you, nobody can. Because they know that they done. So Satan knows that he's done. He wants to take as many of us down with him as he can, because he knows he's going out. This world is on its way out. You can't tell. I've been around since the 70s, and it ain't never been just paradise. But on the same token, it's never been as bad as it is right now. And it's just the first quarter. Eric Gooden says, do you think we are living in a video game? No, it ain't a game, bro. But it is on video. It's not a game, but it is on video, bro. This is real life. Now, I will say this. I will say that the rulers of this world, they treat the people as if it's a video game. They just remotely control the people. So they treat it like it's a game, but it's 100% real, man. Who's qualified to teach us right? And how do we know when we come across the teacher, the right teacher? How do you know that you're not being Jim Jonesed? For those who don't know who Jim Jones is, go look him up. I don't have time to bust it down. But people followed Jim Jones and they believed in him. People followed David Koresh and they believed in him. And they were destroyed with him. And I'm sure that there were people who really believed in what he was saying, that came to the understanding towards the end, like, whoa, I might have made a mistake following this man. But it was too late. When Jim Jones got raided and they came to get him, no, let me go back before that. When Jim Jones knew that it was about to be over, that the jig was up, he instructed all of his followers to drink Kool-Aid laced with poison. I think it was cyanide. Let me know if I'm wrong. But in that moment, a lot of the followers was like, okay, yeah, we ride with you to the end. But there was some, because you can hear the tape, you can hear the final speech of Jim Jones. It's on YouTube. And he's talking. You can hear people in the background crying. You can hear people appealing like, hey, do we really have to do this? In so many words. And he made sure that they did it. But there was some who took off running to get away, like, wait a minute, I ain't signed up for this. Some got shot, some made it into the woods, and they got away and lived to tell the story. But they came into the understanding of it towards the end. They realized that that dude was not qualified to be the teacher that was going to lead them on the right path. See? People talk bad about professional athletes who take stances on social issues, and they take stances on racial injustice and just politics, any categories of life. And we have this notion that because this guy dribbles a basketball and shoots a basketball or throws a football, we have this notion that they are unqualified to speak about the conditions that they are living in and that others are living in. Who put that thought in our minds that because a person is an actor or a person is a dancer or an athlete, that they are 100% unqualified to speak on behalf of social issues? Are there some that shouldn't be speaking? Absolutely. But you can't put everybody in that box, because I don't know what you study. I don't know what you know. I don't know what LeBron James reads in his spare time. I don't know what Kyrie Irving subscribes to, what ideologies he subscribes to. So I can't judge and say, well, shut up and dribble. See? I saw where Charles Barkley gave his variation of shut up and dribble when he was speaking about Kyrie, when Kyrie made some statements about the media and things of that nature. Kyrie's on a journey. He's trying to find knowledge, wisdom, and understanding. And in doing so, all of us, we're going to bump our heads. We're going to stumble. We're going to speak in terms of things that we might not fully know at the time and have to be corrected and make because of the mistakes we made. But you're on a journey. So you don't get to tell him just be quiet and play basketball. That's exactly what the enemy wants us to do. He wants to suppress those among us who have a big platform and a big voice, because they understand that those who have the big platforms and the big voice, they have the power to turn the people's minds and turn the people's thinking away from their direction or the direction they're trying to send us down. They would love for just us to keep tap dancing and singing and smiling and dunking and things of that nature. But anybody who immerses themselves in a course of study and gains knowledge, wisdom, and understanding, they're qualified to speak on it. because you so caught up in wanting to see the game. So my talent is good enough for you to accept, but that's all I'm gonna accept. Just shut up and entertain me. See? And like I said, the lady Laura Ingraham, she was the first to make that statement, but Charles Barkley just said it about Kyrie last week. So who's qualified to teach us? See? Who's qualified to teach us right? It's the one whose words have manifested into fruit, to good fruit. If your words haven't manifested into nothing beneficial, then you're not qualified. But if you speak a word to the people and that word transforms them, it sparks something in their mind, it makes them want to change their behavior for the good, it makes them want to help other people improve, wakes other people up, that's the voice you need to be listening to. See? Brother Chris, you just got here. Brother Chris said, Falcon. That's the voice. The one I spoke about early on, one of a few men, somebody that's evil spoken of, discredited, disrespected, lied on, slandered, hated for no reason other than telling the truth. But his works defeat any efforts that are placed out to discredit him. You can't argue with his work. Why is he doing good work? Why is he doing good work for decades if he's a deceiver? At what point is the trick exposed? Because that's what they'll say. And I'm gonna get off the no, I'm still on the topic. But if they'll say, well, Elijah Muhammad is a deceiver, Farrakhan is a deceiver, all these people are deceivers, but they have enjoyed a level of success that has spanned decades. And when I say success, I'm not talking about them as individuals being materialistically wealthy or anything that. I'm saying success in changing people's lives for the better. If they are wicked deceivers and liars and cheats and thieves, at what point does the trick expose itself? Why is it taking so long for these men to be proven to be evil and dirty? 60 years? If I'm a snake, it's 60 years. It's not gonna take 60 years for that to manifest. I got to be a snake. It got to come out of me because that's who I am, right? So what's taking Farrakhan so long to be this evil person that everybody says he is? Well, not everybody, but some people says that he is. Meanwhile, people are steady improving their life. People are steady getting off dope. People are steady going into business for themselves and becoming successful. People are steady waking up to the knowledge of the truth. People are steady unifying under his leadership. What's taking so long for the evil to come out? Derek Mallory, I'm glad you brought up Vlad. You say Vlad's brain has been damaged by that infamous beatdown incident attacked by Rick Ross and Ozone Awards. I, I, this is my second time hearing about Rick Ross checking Vlad, but I don't remember that. I'm not even aware of that incident. And I remember the Ozone Awards taking place in Houston one year because I was there. I want to say it was 2008, 2009, somewhere up in there. I had no knowledge of who Vlad was at the time, but I need to check into that. I didn't know, but his brain is affected by more than that. His brain has been damaged by more than that. Vlad's brain has been damaged by an ego and an arrogance in a sense of entitlement and privilege that he has in his mind, where he feels like black people are beneath him. And he's an atheist Jew, which I don't even know how that goes together. Vita says, K, you always late on news. It's not that I'm not late on the news that I need to know. I might be late on the drama sometimes. I guess you're right. I'm late on the gossip. I'll be late on that because I don't be looking for it. And it'll come to me and somebody say, man, what about the time? And I'll be like, when did that happen? Man, it happened 8 years ago. I'm like, oh man, I don't follow that type of stuff. I come across it, but I don't follow. I know that Vlad was a DJ, and I know he used to drop the mixtapes and all that because he was DJ Vlad. But he's a failed DJ, so he got into the media side. See? Hold on, man. I got to give a shout out real quick because I was running my mouth. Eric Gooden, I appreciate the love and the donation. And you asked me, where do black people come from? Black people come from the originator of the heavens and the earth, from the God himself, the original people on the planet. We are direct descendants of the creator himself. Matt Labatt says nobody ever want to talk about Dr. Khalid Muhammad. Well, I guess it depends on who you're talking to, because we all love and respect Dr. Khalid as a giant from among us. So who's qualified to teach us, man? The answer to that question is the individual who is bearing the good fruit. It ain't just about somebody talking about it. It's not about what a person is saying, it's what a person is living and showing. And it's about what they are producing after themselves. So if Falcon tell me not to take the vaccine, I got to go to his track record of warning us and things that he said for us to stay away from and go to and this, that, and the other. And I got to judge it off his track record. His track record ain't been wrong yet. So I can't take your vaccine because dirty teachers are the ones who are promoting it. And their track record says that this vaccine ain't gonna be good for us. So y'all take that and ride it out, man. Take that and ride it out, man. Let me go back and give y'all some love real quick before we shut it down. Y'all hit the like button if you haven't. Queen Hardy in the building. Queen Hardy in the building. Ronald B. It's real out here. Gavin Christopher. The dance monkey mentality. Say something, yeah. You said Denzel Washington has an impact. Psychonaut Productions. Appreciate the love. Dave and Jess Santiago said consciousness game is reason why it took as long, and they started during the time of the pinnacle of brainwashing. Anate, spirituality, believe that we are all gods. We are all gods, children of the Most High. So Vlad sued Rick Ross, got his money, and then that springboarded his platform. That's what you're saying? Sounds about right. Sounds about right. Hood to hood. I see you. Trying to shout out the people I haven't shouted out. Jason Barrett, Protest Maniac. M. Grace Palan in the building. King Devon. Yeah, Brother RZA, man. You really want to learn something, go listen to Brother RZA Islam, man. Brother RZA Islam, Ben X. All these brothers younger than me. I'll be learning. I'll be like a little school child learning from them. See, because wisdom does not discriminate who it goes through. The problem is that we discriminate on who we accept it from and our own arrogance. So if your own child tells you something or respectfully corrects you about something, because you the parent, you flip out on the child. What I say? Don't correct me, don't tell me, but he told you what was right. Because our minds are not set up to have that kind of humility. If a homeless person who might have on raggedy clothes, might be dirty, and you pull up in a Benz and you clean, and that homeless person gives you some knowledge in passing, and you look them up and down and reject them because of the condition that they're currently in, you got the problem. See? Protest Music said there is no God higher than self. Can you prove that? Where did self originate? If there's no God higher than self, self is a God. But where did self originate from? And if there's no God higher than self, then why are we in the condition we in? Because if we're the highest form of God, and there's nothing above us, why do we struggle with the things we struggle with on a daily basis? Why can't we solve our problems in the way that the supreme being solves problems? And notice I didn't say solve his problems, because he don't have no problem. But why don't we? If we are the highest form of God, there's no God higher than self, why are we sick? Why are we financially struggling? Why are we struggling in our personal relationships? We can't figure out. Why are we struggling in raising our children? Why are our neighborhoods and our environments jacked up? Why are we addicted to food, drugs, alcohol? If we are the higher form of self, and you can say, well, we don't have the knowledge. Who's the source of the knowledge? Because if we were the ultimate, the pinnacle of godhood, if we were the pinnacle of that, then we could do what the God does, the supreme being does. When a supreme being desires a thing, he simply says be, and it is. He ain't got to go through no processes and channels and figure it out. God ain't sitting around going, man, how I'm gonna get this bill paid? How I'm gonna get this money? God ain't selling no dope. Now we all God's children of the Most High, but we not full manifestations of our godliness. We're not even close. How do you get to that? Where did the first self come from? The individual who is the first self, first creation of the Most High. He had to come from somewhere. He came from the Most High. He came from the originator. We can't be the ultimate. We got too many problems. We got too many issues. We would fix them like that if we had that kind of power, or if we were able to release that kind of power. We got it in us, but we ain't accessing it. See? You are the proof of a supreme being. That's what it is.